just go live on YouTube. For the record, this is position 24 on today's calendar, State of Georgia versus Dontrell Anthony Johnson. Mr. Johnson is charged in warrant number 2022 WA 09522 with committing the offense of reckless conduct. He's also charged in warrant number 2022 WA 09523 with committing the offense of simple battery on a police officer. And finally, he's charged in warrant number 2022 WA 09524 with committing the offense of criminal damage to property in the second degree. Mr. Johnson is present. He's being represented by Ms. Rhonda Hill, Attorney Rhonda Hill, and the state is being represented by Attorney Cheryl Freeman. Mr. Johnson, before we begin, I just would like to remind you, sir, that nothing you say here is privileged, nor is it confidential. So please don't say anything you would not want the whole world to know. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Freeman, you may swear in your witness and present your case.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Land, you can unmute yourself. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony about to provide in the matter of State of Georgia versus Dontrell Johnson will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? I can hear you.
I do, ma'am.
Please tell us your name and how you're employed.
Officer Land, Clayton County Police Department.
How long have you worked with the Clayton County Police Department?
About
I couldn't hear the last part. I couldn't hear you.
1 year.
Okay. Now, I hear some background noise. Is your window down or anything like that?
Is that better?
Yes.
That is better, yes.
All right, thank you. Officer Land, were you working with the Clayton County Police Department on June 12th of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
On that particular day, did you respond to 7980 Trinity Park Drive regarding a demented person?
Yes, ma'am.
Was that at a residence?
It was correct.
When you arrived on scene, who did you meet with?
I met with the subject's mother.
Is that Miss Lakita Johnson?
Yes, correct. It was Ms. Johnson, correct.
What did Miss Johnson advise that happened between she and her son, Dontrell?
Ms. Johnson advised that her son was out of control. He assaulted her. He damaged the property within the home, and he was unable to be controlled in any type of manner. Then he then went into the street and then started pacing back and forth. He'll continue yelling and cursing at her and the family.
Okay, let's go back because I need you to give some more details. What exactly did Miss Johnson state that Dontrell did to her?
He stated that Ms. Johnson stated Dontrell spat on her. That was the assault that he made to her. She then stated he damaged, while they were trying to control him and talk to him, he damaged things within the household. Several televisions, a door panel, a door, throwing a stick in the ceiling, stuff as that matter.
The damage that Miss Johnson stated that her son caused, did you get a value for that?
Yes.
Did she estimated value?
It was over 500. I don't recall the value now, but it was over $500.
Okay. And again, was this damage that was to the house?
Yes, ma'am. It was the interior of the home, several rooms, items within the home.
When you arrived on the scene, did you see Dontrell?
Yes, ma'am. He was already outside.
And what did you observe Mr. Johnson to be doing at that time?
He was pacing back and forth up and down the street, making sounds that represented like a boom sound. That's so he continued to repeat, said statements to his mother about hurting her, continued yelling, and several other curse words.
Did he address you in any kind of way?
Yeah, shortly after I tried to get the information that I needed about Dontrell, whether he was currently on medication, if he harmed himself or anything like that, he eventually started circling me So I tried to like, make sure he didn't go behind me, but eventually he kind of got around me. And then he then spat in my face while I was talking to his mother. After that, that's when I called for my backup. He then took his head and like started banging it on my patrol vehicle. And then continued up and down the street, still being aggressive and still continuously yelling and spitting everywhere.
Officer, did you have to seek any kind of assistance or treatment from Mr. Johnson spitting in your face?
Yes, ma'am, I did. I had to call our medical unit or fire side to come out, which we do when other subjects or victims need assistance. They had to check me out. I had to get my eyes flushed on scene to ensure that I was okay. I didn't go to the hospital for a follow-up after that, due to the fact that the flush they gave me kind of settled. I did kind of suffer like a slight blurry vision after that, shortly after my shift, but it eventually cleared up.
Were you and other officers eventually able to place Mr. Johnson under arrest?
Yes, ma'am. I advised that in my narrative that at one point we gave him a command. He wasn't listening. I guess he got tired. We kind of like, so it was 3 of us. So he kind of like circled around him. He then immediately just sat on the floor. Once he sat on the floor, we immediately rushed in and put him on his stomach to try to detain him. We did successfully detain him.
Did all of this take place in Clayton County?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Ms. Hill?
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Land, you said that there were several items in the house that were destroyed. Can you name those items?
Yes, I believe there were 3 televisions, a door frame, and it may have been the ceiling. There was something in the ceiling, a pole that was within the ceiling.
A pole in the ceiling, you said? Do you know what the condition of the house was prior to this incident?
Yes, ma'am. It was, the best I could put it, ransacked. Everything was all over the place. Couch cushions were like off the floor, were moved out of the place. It was like spilt water or some type of liquid on the ground. Things were pulled off shelves. Bed frames were moved out of its bed frame. Mattresses were all tossed over. There were several items all on the ground. Clothes were all over the place.
Okay.
So on top of damage to property, there were things that were not in the right order that they should have been.
Okay. Did Mr. Johnson make any, what statements did Mr. Johnson make to you when you began to question him?
He didn't really make statements. He made more of sounds. The statements were made towards his mom. That's why I kind of tried to get his mom to leave the scene, because it seemed that was the agitator. Like I said, he just made sounds of like representing a gun, saying boom. He did say to his mom that he wanted to hurt her, but it was nothing said towards me. He was just really unresponsive when it came to me communicating with him.
Okay, so he did not make any admissions as to damaging the property?
No.
Okay.
I got that from the mother. And yeah, I got that from the mother. She's the one who advised me that he did the damage to the property.
Were there any other witnesses there other than the mother?
There was siblings there. Yes, correct.
You know how many?
At this moment, I can't recall how many there were in the house.
Did they give statements as well?
I don't recall that they gave some. I believe I got one from the mom. At this moment, I can't tell you if I retained a statement from them.
Are you aware if they witnessed the incident?
Yes, they were in the house, so they did witness it. I got verbal, but as written statements, I can't recall if they wrote one at this time.
Okay. Was your body camera on during this incident while you were interviewing?
It was.
Do you know whether or not there were any other cameras in the house during the incident?
As far as I know, there were no cameras in the house or the outside of the home.
And as far as you know, no one recorded the incident?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Let's see. Were you aware of any type of communicable diseases or anything that Mr. Johnson may have had?
I did ask the mother at the time. She said her response to me, and I asked her because of the assault that happened, that he just got released from the hospital and they did check him that he didn't have anything that she was aware of.
Okay. Let's see. One second. All right. So were you injured in any type of way by Mr. Johnson?
The only injury that I had was, as stated, was when he spat in my face. So it did affect my vision for a few hours during my shift after my eyes had to be taken care of.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Any follow-up, Ms. Freeman?
No, Your Honor, the state rests.
Okay, any argument, Ms. Hill?
Um,
Or Ms.
yeah,
Freeman, I'm sorry.
sorry.
No, the state waves on me.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Hill.
Your Honor, we will, the defense will submit on the evidence for simple battery on a police officer and criminal damage to property in the second degree. However, we do ask that you dismiss the reckless conduct. We ask that you dismiss the reckless conduct because there was no risk of substantial harm to Officer Land. The testimony says that the defendant spat on her, and that is clear. I mean, that would clearly be upheld by the battery, simple battery on a police officer, but the reckless conduct, there doesn't seem to be much evidence to support that there was a substantial risk of harm to anyone by spitting on them. Although, I mean, it is very disrespectful. There was not a substantial risk of harm to Officer Lamb. So for that reason, we ask that the reckless conduct be dismissed.
So, Ms. Freeman, it looks like the only issue for you to address is reckless conduct.
Right, and Judge, under the circumstances, based on the testimony from Officer Land, we believe that there is sufficient evidence to bind the reckless conduct over for probably this defendant spat in her face after making sounds and threats around her and about his mother. We believe that, I mean, at that time, Officer Land would not have known if he had any kind of communicable disease or anything of that nature. But we believe that still spitting it on her, that it did endanger her safety. And so we're asking that that charge, along with the other two, be bound over to Superior Court.
Okay, I'm going to find that there's sufficient evidence to bind over all three charges. The reckless conduct, the simple battery on a police officer, and criminal damage to property in the second degree. So Officer Land, you may be excused.
Thank
Mr.
you, Officer.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Mr. Johnson can be sent back. So I think I saw Detective Bastier. Are we ready for
Yes, he was
Billingsley?
on Billingsley. Yes.
Can we bring up Mr. Billingsley, please? Michael Keith Billingsley.